Hi everyone, Jesse here with eTrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at and I'll show you how to install the EcoHitch Stealth Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2024 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Adding a hitch to a vehicle like the GTI makes a ton of sense. Even though it is sporty, it's a pretty practical car, and it's always nice to be able to add some extra storage space onto the rear of it, whether it be something like a cargo carrier or a bike rack, and you can even do some light-duty towing, for example, a kayak trailer. Here's a closer look at our EcoHitch. Really nice feature about it is that this receiver opening is actually removable. There's simply a bolt up here that you would have to remove, and that'll drop this receiver opening out, and then you'll have a nice factory look. But even when it is installed, it still looks clean in my opinion. It's got a nice matte black finish, and the receiver opening is 2 inches by 2 inches. It's going to be standard for any of your accessories, and it also has a standard 5/8 inch pinhole. The pin and clip are not included with the hitch. However, many of your accessories will come with one included, and we have options available here at eTrailer for you. As for the safety cable loops, they are pretty tucked up here, pretty difficult to reach, but they will work whether you have a large clevis or any other style safety cable. Now for some measurements for our ground clearance. From the ground to the top of the inside of the collar is a little over 13¼ inches. Then from the center of our pinhole to the edge of the bumper here is about 1.5 inches. Keep that number in mind for any folding accessories that you might add on to ensure they don't make contact with the vehicle. As for our weight capacities, for our gross trailer weight, it's 3,500 pounds. That's the amount of weight that you can pull behind the vehicle. And our maximum tongue weight is 525 pounds. That's the amount of weight that you can have pushing down on the hitch. Always be sure to double check your Volkswagen's owner's manual to ensure that your GTI can handle that weight safely. When you bought your GTI, you probably bought it not only because it drives really nice, but also because you like the way it looks. So this EcoHitch option is a really great choice for you because you have the added benefit of being able to drop that receiver tube off and go back to the factory look. As for the installation, it does involve removing the fascia and torquing down some bolts. If that's not something that you're looking to do yourself, maybe you just don't have the time, the space, or the tools to do so, feel free to check out our dealer locator to find somebody local to you that will be happy to help you. If you are looking to get this installed yourself, then follow along and I'll walk you through the process. Also, if you've installed this yourself and you just want to share some tips or tricks, or maybe you just want to share some photos of what it looks like on your GTI, please feel free to leave a review or a comment. To start our installation, first I want to remove this black piece of plastic here. It's actually just double-sided tape to the side of the car, and I'm not sure if this is a factory option or what, but I've seen some with it and some without. So before I remove it, I'm going to mark the ends with painter's tape. So I marked the back side, and I'll mark the front. That way when I go to reinstall it, I'll know that I have everything lined up. Then from there, I'll just carefully work it out. Just try not to bend it too much, break it. Usually you can just work that tape back and forth and it will finally release. And once you work all of it off, I'll take it off, and then later I'll come back through, take all this tape off, clean it up with some alcohol, and reinstall it when we're done. Now in our wheel well liner, we have a series of torque screws to remove. These will be T20s, and depending on how you're working on your car, I'd most likely recommend just removing the wheel to give you some more space, but with the way we have it lifted up, I can't do that. So it is a pretty tight spot to work. And then we have one more on the bottom here. Now with those removed, we can peel back our wheel well liner because there's another torque screw that's connecting our fascia to the body of the car. This screw is kind of tucked up inside of our wheel well here, same size torque socket. Then we'll do that same process on the other side, fender liner, and we can come underneath our vehicle. We have two T15s to remove. And then we should be able to pop that clip off and out. Next, we'll lower our exhaust. Before we get it lowered down or remove anything, make sure you have something supporting it. So if you're working on the ground, use something like a floor jack, or if you're up in the air like we are, a cam strap works just fine. But we'll come to our rear hangers here, and you can actually just remove the bracket. It's a little bit easier than messing with these rubber hangers. It'll be a 13mm bolt. And there's another one on the passenger side. Next, we'll be removing our tail lights, so we'll have to get this plastic cover out of our way. The easiest way is to go in this bottom corner here, start pulling away from the tail light. Because there's a lip that goes under the tail light, so you just have to kind of work that out from there. Helps to have a plastic trim tool. Just be extra careful around the edges. Don't want to crack it. Once you get that out, or all those edges off, you can pull that off. Now we'll see our two T25 Torx screws. Remove those, and then we can just carefully pull our tail light straight back. There's going to be some fasteners back here that are just clipped in. Pull that out. Then we can unplug it. Just push in on this tab here and pull the plug down and set it aside. Now you'll need an extra set of hands. I have my good friend Brad here to help me out, but we'll just start working from the outside in. This fascia should just, or it is just held in by clips at this point. So work our way up to the top clips. If these taillight clips are holding you up, it helps to just use a screwdriver, push down that tab. I can show you on this one back here. Pretty similar setup as those. And as you're doing that, you'll want to pull out. So we actually missed two clips. There's going to be one on both sides, but they're just like those center ones with the small Torx. Just back that screw off and the clip will come off. Before we pull our fascia all the way off, we'll have to unplug this connector here. You just simply pull back on this tab and separate the two plugs. Now we'll set our fascia safely aside. We have some sensors to get out of our way. We'll start with this small one here. There's a 10mm nut holding it in. We'll remove that. And I just like to avoid unplugging these sensors. I'm just gonna feed it through this once we get it removed. So on this one, we already unplugged the other end of it, so we can unplug this side. Then there's a 10mm nut. And we need to remove one more bolt, which is actually holding our bumper beam in also. That'll be a 13mm. It's also held in by this one down here. So pull this out, set it aside, and then we can just work around this one since we're not unplugging it. Then we'll remove the other sensor on the driver's side. It's just got one 13mm bolt and a 10mm nut, and then we'll let that hang out here. Now with all those sensors out of our way, we can remove the remaining 13mm bolts holding our bumper beam up. And to pull it off, you'll have to lift up because there's little tabs holding it in, and we'll set that aside. Now we'll take one of our smaller bolts in our kit, and we're going to thread them into the bottom inside holes on both sides, but we're actually threading it from the inside out. This is just going to be temporary. This is so that we can lift both our bumper beam and our hitch into place, and these will hold them. So just get that threaded through. And it doesn't have to be tight or anything, just enough so you have threads to get that hitch held into place. Before we lift our bumper and our hitch into place, you'll want to have a bolt ready. So you'll take one of those smaller bolts, slide a split washer over, and then a flat washer. First we'll take our hitch, slide it through our bumper beam holes, and then line it up with those bolts that we threaded in. That should hold itself in place. We can grab our bumper beam, get that lined up with those bolts. Then we'll just push everything forward and get that bolt started. Once you have all of your hardware hand tightened, don't forget to take that placeholder bolt out, unthread it from the back, and reinstall it just like we did the other ones. And then we'll go through and tighten each one down with a 13mm socket. Now we'll go through all the hardware and torque them down to the specifications listed in the instructions. Now underneath our vehicle, we'll need to fish wire some hardware through the bottom. So what I'll do is take the coiled end of our fish wire, I'll put a bend in it just to help me make it up and around. And we'll bring it out this larger hole here. Pull that down a little bit. And then with this hardware, we'll have a bolt, a spacer block, and then this lock washer or star washer. Get those threaded on, and then I'll feed them through that hole one at a time. Spacer block, washer, and get the bolt tucked up in there. Then all we'll have to do is pull our fish wire down and pull it off. Now I'll have a flat washer, a split washer, and a nut. We'll tighten those down with a 3/4 inch socket. Now we'll go over that hardware with a torque wrench. At this point in the instructions, they tell you to cut out a 2.5 inch hole this way. I kind of just mocked our fascia up, and I noticed that we really didn't need to cut anything. Our receiver will still slide right up there. The only reason I would cut this is in case you plan on towing, you would need to access your safety cable loops. So in that case, you could just cut out a couple inches and you should have plenty of clearance. But at this point, we're just going to slide our receiver up into place. Try to get our holes to line up, and then we'll install our bolts with a flat washer and a split washer. Slide it through and thread it on the other side. Now we'll take a 24mm socket and torque that bolt down. Now all that's left is to reinstall everything that we took off, but otherwise that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the EcoHitch Stealth Hitch custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2024 Volkswagen Golf GTI.